Welcome to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items. How can I help you today? Today on special for the young adventurers is rune chalks. Even if you know a lot of magic or little magic or even no magic, anyone can use these. Different colors of rune chalks do different things, and if you draw different symbols with them, they do even more different things. Some of these chalks are good for setting traps, others are best used for buffing your armor or your abilities or even being more of a defensive stance. Each chalk has 20 uses before it is completely used up and you have to get more. And I know what you're thinking, but Wally, what would I have need for rune chalks that take up an action to use? Well, let me tell you, while most of the chalks have mostly minor effects, the chalks are designed with very specific niche events in mind. So while they have limited use, the possibilities are endless with your own imagination. They're plentiful, they're cheap, and they're easy to use. So come on down to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items, pick out a few colors, get them all! And if you need any more information on these wondrous rune chalks, look on places like Pinterest or Google, because Wally cannot take credit for any of these. Welcome to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items. How may I help you today? Today, new adventurers, we're going to be talking about the close quarters short bow. Do you ever find yourself in this situation where you're in close combat with someone but you're kind of a ranged person? Well, Wally has just the thing for you. While equipped with this special short bow, the shield on it grants you +1 to your AC. The shield also doubles as a bashing tool for those people that get a little too close for comfort. But if punching isn't really your style, this little beauty doesn't make you roll at disadvantage for people within 5 feet of you. So come on down to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items. And if you need more info on this item, look on places like Google or Pinterest because Wally cannot take credit for this item. Welcome to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items. How can I help you today? Today, for the little bit more experienced adventurer, by which I mean has a little bit more gold in their pocket, Wally has the arrowless bow. You can still use this bow as a regular bow, but this bow has a special feature as well. This bow especially comes in handy for whenever you've run out of arrows to fling towards the enemy. Simply draw back on the empty bowstring, aim at desired target, and release. Upon doing so, an inanimate object nearby will suddenly fling towards the enemy. So be sure to have all valuables tied down and properly secured. So if you would like this item, come on down to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items. And if you need more info on this said item, look on places like Google or Pinterest because Wally cannot take credit for this item. Welcome to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items. How may I help you today? You need something for a barbarian, you say? Well, Wally has not one, but 2 great axes to show my people of the more barbarian persuasion. Let's start this off with the Great Axe of the Hills. So this Great Axe not only is a +1 weapon, but also has the special ability to overextend. Before you roll your next attack, you may choose to take a -3 to your hit to gain an extra 5 feet of reach with this Great Axe. The next item up for sale is the Mad Mage's Great Axe. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where the enemy is just a little too far to whack, or even just a little too far to smack? This Great Axe has all the same stats as a regular Great Axe, except it's got 3 charges of magic missile. Once all 3 charges are expended, you get them back after a long rest. Added bonus of owning this Great Axe, you have officially gained the title of the Meat Wizard. So come on down to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items to find items like these and more. And if you need more information on these items, look on places like Google or Pinterest because Wally cannot take credit for any of these items. Welcome to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items. How may I help you today? While Wally is ecstatic about the overwhelming amount of items that have been requested, and there's a lot, Wally has decided to showcase items in no particular order. So please remain patient, but please continue to make suggestions. And be on the lookout for the hashtag Wally's Wondrous Not So Wondrous Items. Welcome to Wally's Wondrous Not So Wondrous Items. How may I help you today? Are you the type that prefers to stay in the shadow? Perhaps some might call you a rogue. Well, Wally might just have the thing for you. Introducing Shadow Glass Daggers. These daggers not only do 1d4 regular damage, but they also do an extra 1d4 necrotic damage as well. And if that's not interesting enough, another cool thing about these daggers leave no external visible wounds. All the damage is internal. And this makes Wally slightly uncomfortable, so let's talk about something else. The next item up for sale is the Kunai of Teleportation. This special dagger has 2 charges. When this dagger is thrown, the user teleports to wherever the dagger lands, or gets stuck into. How you may use this is up to you. Imagination is endless. However, it doesn't do any extra damage, it only does the 1d4 piercing damage, but don't let that dissuade you. So if you'd like to know more about any of these items, look on places like Google or Pinterest, because Wally cannot take credit for any of these items. Welcome to Wally's Wondrous and Not So Wondrous Items. How can I help you today? Today, adventurers, we look at another rare item. Are you a monk that doesn't really need a whole lot of magic items? That may have been what you thought before, until Wally has to show you this. The Hand Wraps of the Gathering Storm. Not only do these hand wraps add a +1 to your unarmed strikes, but these hand wraps also have 10 charges. You can spend 5 of the charges to add an extra 2d4 +2 lightning damage to your punches, but you get a charge back every time you make a successful punch on a creature. and you get 2 charges if you land a crit with your unarmed strike. However, also keep in mind that if you don't punch a hostile creature within 10 minutes after activating the gloves, then the charges drop down to 0. And if you need more info on this item, look on places like Google or Pinterest, because Wally cannot take credit for any of these items. Also, remember that the voting for Wally's Wondrous Not So Wondrous Items gift shop is still open. So if you would like cool merchandise from Wally's Wondrous Not So Wondrous Items, please go back to my profile, find the video, and vote! Welcome to Wally's Wondrous Not So Wondrous Items. How can I help you today? Are you in need of a sword? Well, Wally has a few to show. Wally presents Stand Against the Darkness. This sword has all the regular stats of a regular longsword. However, if you use your bonus action to strike the blade, it begins emitting bright light out to 20 feet, and 10 feet beyond that is dim light. While in this state, the sword does an additional 1d6 radiant damage. And if that doesn't tickle your fancy, Wally also has the Sword of the Northern Tribe. Every day at dawn, the sword forms a thin, icy layer that's razor sharp to the touch. The first 5 successful hits with this weapon yields you an extra 1d4 cold damage on top of its regular damage, and also it's a +1 weapon. Another added bonus, once per day you can stick the sword into a body of water, freezing it in a 15-foot radius. For any additional info on these items, go on places like Google or Pinterest, because Wally cannot take credit for any of these items. Also, the poll for Wally's gift shop is still open, so if you haven't voted yet, go back to my profile, find the video, and vote! Welcome to Wally's Wondrous Not So Wondrous Items! How can I help you today? Today, adventurers, we're going to be looking at some great utility items. Wally presents the Pot of Keeping. Any food or beverage that is kept in this simple-looking copper pot is kept warm and never spoils. Another great item for sale is the Feather Ring. While the user is attuned to this ring, it removes the largest damage die from fall damage. Wally also has the Red Hot Whetstone. When you sharpen your weapons with this whetstone, it adds an additional 1d4 fire damage to your strikes, but only for one battle, so remember to keep those swords sharp. The next item up for grabs is the Boots of Questionable Stealth. While the user is wearing these boots, it renders the user completely invisible. However, it also amplifies the user's footsteps to near-deafening volumes. And if you need more info on any of these items, go to places like Google or Pinterest, because Wally cannot take credit for any of these items. And remember, if you haven't voted for Wally's gift shop yet, go back to my profile, find the video, and vote! Welcome to Wally's Wondrous Not So Wondrous Items. How can I help you today? So Wally hears you need something for a bard. Well, adventurers, look no further than the War Lute. This lute has a blade attached to the body and a crossbow attached to the head of it. The damage for both of these is 1d6, but when you strike a special chord with this lute, one creature of your choice has advantage on their next roll. However, the creature can only gain this benefit once per long rest, and you can activate this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. Per long rest, that is. Another handy trick that this lute can do, if you bestow a creature with Bardic Inspiration while wielding this thing, the die gains a +1 benefit. On top of that, if you make a successful strike with this lute, and in the same turn use Bardic Inspiration, their Inspiration die now has a +2 instead. And if you need more info on these items, look on places like Google or Pinterest, because Wally cannot take credit for any of these items. Also, the poll for Wally's gift shop is still open, so if you haven't voted yet, go back to my profile, find the video, and vote!